Hey guys, Katie here. I felt compelled today for some reason. Eagles have been on my mind. And I actually was doing some research. I've actually done, I'm not like an avid eagle person, but I do when a thought comes in my head, I tend to like go in that direction and I want to study it. And there's some characteristics of an eagle that I think are interesting. And I know that I'm sure a lot of leaders have talked about, I'm not some expert on eagles, you know what I mean? But I was just studying them, and there was a lot of characteristics that are very powerful. And I actually wrote them down. But one of the things that I recognize about an eagle is that they have vision. They can see things from like really far up ahead, or they can see something from really far away, and that prepares them for whatever, and that's one thing I notice about leadership is that they can see. It's like they can see. They know what they're looking at because they've walked through the trials, right? They've walked through these whatever they've walked through, and when they're leading people, they can see. Now, not that they're still not growing, and they're still not doing, things on their own within themselves, but they can see. So they have vision, and it's so powerful. And even when you think about the eagle, right? Like the way its head moves back and forth, how it's always looking, and it always sits up really, really high, and it's looking, it's finding, and it can see things from really far away. You know what I mean? So it comes from a place, in my opinion, of wisdom. That's kind of how I look at an eagle. It's making wise decisions, and it's looking into the future, because I really, truly believe that if we're just focused on the present, let's say if our present is really crappy, and we still have trials that we're working through, and we all do, right? We can grow bitter if we let it, so that's why looking into the future is so important. It's so important to have a vision, or I truly believe you'll die inside, truly. And that's very biblical. A man without a vision will perish. But the second thing, actually, there was a lot of things that I gathered as I was collecting information, but there was about, 8 or 9 things that I wrote down. They flock together. They do. Eagles flock together. They don't like hanging out with people that are, other species that don't think like them. They just don't. That's not comfortable for them. That's a waste of their time. It really is. And I think that that's very powerful. Because you got to ask yourself, who you're flocking with. I've heard that saying 1,000 times from 100 different leaders. But it's really true. If you flock with people who are extremely less than where it is that you want to go, you're going to have a hard time getting to where you want to go. You really are. And that's just the truth. It's a hard truth, but you got to know it. Another thing, and I've actually heard this before, but I was studying it today, and it was like eagles love a storm. It's their most favorite thing. Why? Because it was actually designed, their wings were designed a certain way where they can move into the resistance of a storm, and they coast through it. So they embrace storms as a chance for them to, you can look at it in human terms, as a chance to grow, or as a chance to allow the storm to lift them up higher. You know what I mean? And that's actually what they do. They jump into storms so they can lift up higher. How cool is that? And if we all, just embraced whatever's in front of us, imagine what that would do to our growth, and I aspire, let me tell you something. I aspire to work on my character. It's one of my goals. And I'm working, oh my gosh, it takes time to build good character. It really does. And it's life experiences. It's, you read, you learn, you grow, and I'm doing it every single day, as you should too, but I think it's really powerful that they love a storm. Do you like storms? There was a time that I didn't, and there's still times where I get uncomfortable. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go through this. I just want things to move forward, right, and work. But they embrace storms. How powerful is that? So, another thing is they test before they trust. And what do I mean by that? Well, there was an example that I was reading that the female eagle will drop like twigs to the male eagle to see if the male eagle will go after him and get him. And that might seem, some people might be watching this and be like, no, that's a bunch of crap. Well, she's seeing if he will actually nurture her and care for her. That's what she's seeing. So she's testing whether or not, he's going to be a team player in the partnership. And I thought that was really powerful. You know what I mean? And sometimes as a leader, you do have to do that. You got to test people. You got to see if they're going to freaking go and do something, because if they're not, how can you build a trusting relationship? How can you build a trusting relationship? And that's why a lot of leaders, and people, let's say in higher authority positions, they're looking for people. They're going to drop the twig and see if you go and pick it up and bring it back to them, and there was a time where I wouldn't go and catch that twig, but now that's all I like to do is catch twigs for other people, just because I know that we're here to serve, and it's actually my heart to do. But anyway, it trains its children to maturity. So check this out. I was reading this story, and one of the stories that it talked about was, a mother eagle, as they're teaching their children, the baby eaglets or whatever, to fly. But how they do it is they pretty much just push them off the edge. They're like, okay, fly, and then they'll swoop down and they'll go up and they'll pick them up, so they don't, obviously crash and die. But if an eaglet is having a hard time flying, you know what they do? Is they go and tear off all its feathers. They do. Isn't that crazy? And they don't allow it to have anything it can hold on to. So when the mother eagle goes to, kick the baby off and say, okay, it's time to fly, they've got nothing to hold on to, and their only option is to fly. And that's so powerful to me, because I struggled with this for a very long time, because my heart is to help people in the marketplace and really trusting that other people have the ability to fly. But you know what? Sometimes you have got to let them fly. And that's how they're training them. How powerful is that? How powerful is that? I just thought that was powerful. This is something that I thought was very interesting. I never knew this about an eagle, and this is why I want to talk about it. It actually will retire its feathers until it's regrown. And what do I mean by that? Well, when an eagle gets to be about like 30 years old, it slows down a bit, and it doesn't like that. So what it does is it'll go in hiding for as long as it takes, and it'll rip off all of its feathers and even tear off its beak. It'll do all these different things. And it'll wait for new feathers to grow so they can last another 30 to 60 years. How cool is that? So what did I think was so powerful about that? Well, for one, I know I'm actually still coming out of a huge incubation in my life. I completely stepped away, let's just say, for me, even doing this video is huge, believe it or not. It actually is really huge. There's a lot of growth that grows in all of us, right? If we allow it to. But sometimes we reach this place in our life where we need to pluck off our feathers. We need a whole new perspective, right? Before we get back out there and fly again. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's just what it is. I'm actually, right now as we speak, I'm still growing new feathers. I really am. I'm still growing some new feathers back, because not only did I pluck a lot off of me, but I got some plucked. Let's just say. So there's nothing wrong with that, But the cool thing is, and I loved, about the characteristics of this eagle. And let's just kind of refresh what I just said. They have vision. They flock with other eagles. They love a storm. They test before trusting. Okay. They train their children to maturity. And then sometimes they retire their feathers. They retire themselves before they get back out there again, so they can last so much longer. Another thing, I didn't even write it down. They don't eat dead meat. They only eat live meat. That's it. Only vultures eat dead meat. I thought that was interesting. So, I don't know. I just felt like talking about that today. I hope this blessed you today. Hey, listen, join me over on my Facebook page. I actually have that link below this video. If you're looking to spread your message, your purpose, and really build your medium in the world, look, connect with me. I would love to show you how you can cash in on your purpose. So I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to see you on the beaches of the world. You don't know. But I'll see you on the inside, and I'll see you on Facebook. Take care. Bye-bye.